gives them a psychological lift. Frequent low doses of caffeine provide extended wakefulness, strengthen our central information processing, and improve transmission in central auditory pathways. The research is more and more suggesting that caffeine improves mental functioning rather than impedes it. Some other really interesting research that we found on caffeine pertains to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are both neurodegenerative disorders. Specifically talking about Alzheimer's first, it's a neurodegenerative disorder that affects it's the destruction of neurons in the brain. Caffeine ingestion, specifically coffee ingestion with Alzheimer's, can delay the onset of Alzheimer's or can reduce the rate of progression. This is not very well understood, but what they are understanding is that non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, exercise, and the ingestion of caffeine can slow this rate of Alzheimer's. With Parkinson's, the other neurodegenerative disorder, moderate caffeine use is associated with the lower incidence. With Parkinson's, the data is specific to caffeine intake rather than coffee intake. In both Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, the focus on caffeine is rather puzzling because coffee contains powerful antioxidants that could be beneficial in reducing oxidative stress in brain tissue. And so that focus on caffeine or if it's coffee and the antioxidants that are present in coffee also, it can present a challenge.
All right, next we're going to talk about cardiovascular health. People often associated cardiovascular diseases with caffeine use. However, older research did not take into consideration smokers versus non-smokers, especially considering that some research says caffeine and nicotine mixed together can have detrimental effects on coronary blood flow and healthy cardiovascular functioning. Recently, several studies have said they prove that coffee consumption, and therefore caffeine consumption, increases risk of death due to coronary heart disease, while others say there is absolutely no correlation. Why don't they agree? Well, part of it has to do with family history and genetics are a huge variable, and they play a role in observed differences, especially according to a Portuguese study that confirmed men who had a family history of cardiovascular problems caused increased risk after drinking caffeine. However, also confirmed men who did not have a family history of cardiovascular problems, coffee decreased the risk for myocardial infarction. There are other variables as well that affect the outcomes of these studies. Now we'll go on to physical fitness and athletic performance.
Like Bianca mentioned in the introduction, caffeine has been used as a legal ergogenic aid for many years. The benefits of caffeine on physical exercise is mainly seen with endurance activities, and the use in anaerobic exercise has not been studied. This effect, time to exhaustion, is reported to increase, and this effect occurs with caffeine doses being between 2 to 9 milligrams per about 2 pounds of body weight. So this would be with about 2 to 5 cups of coffee depending on the individual body weight. And this delay in fatigue is related to caffeine's ability to alter the exercise metabolism of an individual by enhancing oxidation and thus preserving muscle glycogen stores. And caffeine is also, like I was mentioning before with coffee, but it's in other substances. It's also combined with other ingredients to provide a synergistic effect and increase the probability of performance response. So in response to Jordan's argument for energy drinks provide an improved endurance performance and the quality of resistance exercise workout. And so many athletes will opt to use energy drinks to get a stimulatory effect to enhance their focus, their alertness, and their reaction time for exercise.
All right, another way to justify drinking is a metabolic, or type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder characterized by high blood sugar levels and insulin resistance. Too much caffeine can impair glucose tolerance among patients with type 2 diabetes. However, studies have shown habitual and long-term coffee drinking seems to protect against the disease in non-diabetic individuals because of the improved insulin sensitivity, which enhances the insulin response. The protection against type 2 diabetes could also be due to weight loss often experienced because caffeine increases the resting metabolic rate, but I will get back to that on the next point.
Caffeine can also have an enhanced effect on the digestive system. Research has shown that caffeine consumption is associated with lower risks of symptomatic gallstone disease, colorectal cancers, and chronic liver disease. It has a protective effect against colon, rectal, and liver cancers, and this is most likely due to the effect that caffeine has on stool passage through the colon and any carcinogens that are in there along with the food, as well as the buildup of cholesterol, sterile secretions, and bile acid in the colon. And specifically with liver cancer, 1 cup of coffee a day can decrease the risk of liver cancer by about 23%.
All right, now weight loss. Caffeine has been demonstrated to be effective in enhancing lipolysis, fat oxidation, and reducing glycogen breakdown. However, when it is combined with other thermogenic agents, the rate at which the body burns calories, its effectiveness magnifies. In general, energy drinks containing synephrine and herbal products, along with other ingredients, have shown some properties of appetite suppression, increased metabolic rate and lipolysis, and enhanced mood in healthy populations. They have been proven to show in healthy college-aged athletes decrease in body fat and body mass. They therefore could have potential in addition to exercise and other healthy decisions to enhance weight loss, but other studies are needed to understand this more fully.